The European Union has unveiled a new strategy to overhaul its migration policy. With the new plan of action, the European Union is now aiming to plug a wide gap in its existing migration policy by boosting measures to have migrants return to their home countries. Now, the new strategy includes counselling for migrants on benefits of returning to home country. It also aims at providing smoother legal and operational procedures for deportation. And the European Union plans to use development aid or visa restrictions to convince the home countries to take back the migrants. The plan also aims to counter a fragmented approach by member states on return of migrants and reintegration support. The strategy also pushes for a fast and fair common approach on asylum rules and returns, boosted funding and better coordination across different agencies at national, international and even local levels. Despite multiple news reports and allegations of rights abuses, European Union's border agency Frontex will lead implementation of the new plan, defending the agency's role amid controversy. European Union Home Affairs Commissioner said that while shortcomings had been identified, an inquiry by Frontex's board had concluded that the agency was not involved in any such activity. The Commission Vice President admitted European Union's failure to ensure return of migrants. He added that in 2019, around 500,000 people received order to leave member states and that only 142,000 did so.
Reasons behind this failure, let's not mince our word, is that a major difficulty is, of course, readmission. Countries of origin need to be engaged more, need to accept returns, and they also need to engage more with our help on reintegration of people who are coming back. I think this is not only a legal obligation under international law, but it's also a moral duty for us to help these countries to do the best they can.
And for more on this, we have Stuart Smith joining us live from Moscow. Stuart, thank you so much for joining us. The European Union plans to use development aid or visa restrictions to convince the home countries to take back the migrants, and also they want to have consultations for migrants to return to home country. Could you tell us a little more about this strategy?
Yeah, so this was trialled last year by Frontex, which currently focuses on preventing people getting into the European Union. It is, in effect, the border guards of Europe. Now the emphasis is going to be also using Frontex to get people back to their home countries. Hundreds of thousands of people try to make it into the European Union each year, and less than half of them have a valid reason, according to the EU, to stay, whether that be normal migrant claims or whether that be on an asylum basis. So the question is how to get them back to their home countries. Forced deportations are both very difficult and also very politically unpopular. So the new strategy is trying to work out how they can get migrants to go back to their countries voluntarily. Currently, a third of illegal migrants into the European Union are discovered, and only a third of them return voluntarily once found. So things such as what you mentioned, giving them money to return, offering some sort of reintegration package to help them go back to their home countries, paying for flights and things like that, which sounds expensive on the face of it. But the European Commission says that a forced deportation is $4,100. The alternative, encouraging them to go back, providing funding, only costs around $700. So both smoother process and also a cheaper process.
All right, Stuart. Also, how effective do you think this new plan will be in plugging the gaps in its existing migration policy?
Well, it's done well over the past year at doing that, with around 7% more migrants returning with those on a voluntary basis. The trial will the trial will be extended this year to see whether it's more effective. But bearing in mind that the numbers of migrants is already going down, 2020 saw a 2014 low in the number of migrants making it to the European Union. There are clearly some measures being taken which are working. These measures hope to back those up and go even further. But the European Union also looking at the causes of why people want to come to Europe in the first place. And it is still the case that it's mostly from war-torn regions. A quarter of asylum seekers coming from Syria, then next on the list, Afghanistan, and then Iraq. So encouraging people from war-torn countries to go back would be very difficult. It's looking at the other migrants, perhaps from Turkey, for example, who are not fleeing war, but fleeing economic deprivation or issues with labour standards. These people might be the ones they can encourage to return with the proper finance and with the proper education and reintegration packages.
All right, and I know you briefly touched on this, as I mentioned earlier as well. This plan comes after allegations of rights abuses, and the European Union's border agency Frontex, like you mentioned as well, will lead the implementation of this new plan as well. How do you assess this?
Yes, so Frontex got in a lot of trouble in March after it was discovered by a Guardian report, a newspaper in the UK, that they were effectively pushing back migrants to where they had come from. Now, although they are the border agency of Europe, they're not allowed to do that. And these claims were denied by Frontex and the European Commission.
All right. All right, that was Stuart Smith joining us from Brussels. The European Union has unveiled a new strategy to overhaul its migration policy. With the new plan of action, the European Union is now aiming to plug a wide gap in its existing migration policy by boosting measures